Hello and welcome to another edition of Instructor Insights. And today I am really pleased to welcome Hardial Matharu to the screen, to the conversation. Who's someone I was very excited when he took up my invitation to come and have a chat, because we normally cross paths at an expo. When you very kindly pass on a thank you for the engagement that we've had without me knowing it necessarily, because it's those little bits that you put out and other people pick up on, and I normally assume that people think it's rubbish, and it's nice when people come along and go, I liked that. So I that is what I love about yourself, Hardial, is that you recognize with the efforts and the engagement that we have, even when we're not talking, and we, except for those, we haven't really. So I'm here. So I'm going to ignore that lot. We're going to have a chat, and I'd like you to start with give me that kind of the elevator pitch bit of who you are, what you do, and what's important about it.
Superb. Thank you. First of all, Chris, thank you very much for inviting me along, and it's a pleasure to be here. And yes, you're absolutely right. We only meet once in a blue moon at the ADI NJC Expo, and when I first qualified, I used to go to the expo, and then I stopped going for a few years, and then I've restarted now, and I'm really looking forward to the one on this Sunday. And I I really enjoy saying thank you to people like yourself and others in the industry that have helped me along my journey, because it's not been an easy journey. I've had to work very, very hard, but I always like to reach out and get the help that I need. And now I feel confident enough to uh, reciprocate that and reach out to ADIs and PDIs that need help. In some respects, I've always pushed myself to work alongside others more experienced than myself and less, and learn from everybody. And I remember that time that we met at the conference, must have been about 4 or 5 years ago, and I approached you and said, Chris, I just want to say thank you to you for what you do for the industry. And you've helped me without even knowing what you've done. You've helped me because whenever you post up or a snip of a video clip, I listen carefully. So I'm taking in information all the time. So to answer your question, I've been in ADI nearly 10 years now. The time has flown past. April next year, I'll be celebrating 10 years as an ADI.
Awesome.
Um, I I really struggled with my part three. I passed on my fifth attempt. I had to go around twice. I had some bad training, then eventually got some good training and scraped through with a. I did preset test. I got 4-4, so I got the lowest score. So those that are passing with 31s and 32s, a pass is a pass.
Yeah.
Then immediately after I passed, Adam Bragg said to me, Hardy, we want you as one of our trainers. And I said, whoa, hold on. Let me get some experience under my belt. So I got some experience. And then I did train the trainer with John Farlam's team. And I'm one of their trainers. And I love it, absolutely love it. And as the years have gone by, confidence has grown and grown. And now I feel confident to offer my support and knowledge to the whole industry. And I I have given myself the title. You might be able to see my badge. Oh, there it is. Yeah. We all know about the GDE matrix. Yeah. If those of you that don't know about the GDE matrix, research it and find out. It's fascinating. It stands for Goals for Driver Education. So, as a spin-off from that, um, uh, in actual fact, how the GDL consultant was born was thanks to a gentleman called Lee Sperry, who's the ADI doctor. So when he created his title ADI doctor, I thought, that's very clever. And then I thought to myself, I can't call myself the ADI doctor because that's pinching here. So I thought, I know what, I'll be the GDL consultant. And these are badges that doctors have actually. So I went onto Amazon and created one. So this is my PDI pink. So I love PDIs and ADIs and trainers. So this is my PDI pink. This is how I'll be in the dressing on the ADI conference. I did so last year and the year before. So
I
for a
can always see you coming from a distance. That's the yeah. No, absolutely.
and you know what, Chris? I did read somewhere, and I've known this for a while. For a man to wear pink, you've got to be brave. And I think
What?
deep down inside, I am.
So that's the thing that I've noticed from what you've just said, right? And this is something that resonates with me as well. The word confidence has come up a number of times, and I think you and I are of a similar kind of ilk that if someone sees us or engages with us now, they will assume that we are one of those extrovert, confident people. John Farlam's a good example, right? I remember when my reputation in the industry was just kind of blossoming on Facebook, just because I was there. And it wasn't anything else particularly, but I was doing some stuff and getting out there, recognised a little bit for just the way that I think and talk. That's really what everything that I've done has been built on. And I remember going to an event, and Adam met me at the door, much to my business partner at times disgust. He recognised me, not the guy who'd been in the industry for a number of years. And he said to Adam, he said, you know, oh, how did you know? How did you know that was Chris? And Adam said, well, it's the beard, isn't it? So clearly,
Oh yeah,
all of the I feel humbled because I had mine trimmed off yesterday, so I'm feeling lacking. And then to turn up with yourself here with your your beautiful creation is
you.
is humbling. But I went into the room, and John in John's way, the only way that only John can, said, "Don't worry, when I'm here, you're definitely not going to be the biggest ego in the room." And that's the thing that I've always struggled with is that mine's a defense mechanism, and John's might be as well. He might be the same. I feel that he is actually quite quite extrovert, but I'm not. Never have been. And confidence is one of the hardest things. And I think when you come into the industry and you are when you're coming in and you said working with people that were more and less experienced than yourself. So often we link experience to ability, as in we've done it for long enough that we feel we're there, and we feel that we are not as good as some people. Probably we feel we are better than some people. We don't always like to acknowledge that side of things, but we see where we sit in a hierarchy, and it takes it. You have to get to a certain point, don't you? You've got to feel
Yeah.
that you can, and some people do that before they're ready to. That's a polite way of putting it. Some people do that before they're ready to, and then often peter out and disappear and fail to do whatever they were trying to achieve. And I think other people manage to deliver something that potential game changing, either on individual levels or even industry levels, and then other people who are really good hand holders along the way. But all of it requires us to have confidence, and it's something I try to say to PDIs when it's every step is a new step. How awesome is that? Would you like to go back to day one when you were even before you qualified? You said you went around twice. Would you like to go back to day one with the confidence that you've got now, or has that journey been the one that's been most important for getting you to who you are?
Absolutely, absolutely. And it does take time to develop that confidence. We as trainers, ADIs, PDIs, we're developing a very complex skill set. And um, I feel blessed that as you know, I'm a teacher. Well,
Mm-hmm.
15 years ago, I qualified as a teacher. I spent some time in the motor trade, trying to find a proper job, and did very well in car sales. And then I decided, oh, I'll become a teacher. I'll use my qualifications at long last. Got through the qualification, really struggled, got through that. And then I thought to myself, I was driving along one day and I thought, what do I really want to do with the rest of my life? And that's when I decided, right, I need to become a driving instructor.
Yeah, you didn't want a proper job.
Exactly. Those are the words I was going to use. Yeah. So uh, I I went on and on and on, and here we are today. And the confidence, yeah. I'm glad I did what I did, because with my teaching background, when I'm in the car, that's what it is. It's a classroom, and that
Yeah.
phrase "great driving lessons" uh, is so important, because the pupil wants a lesson. They don't just want to drive around aimlessly fixing faults. There's instructors even now that are doing that, and I really admire what you're doing for the industry, trying to bring us all together. Obviously, we've got audit and what's happening and so on, and there needs to be some sort of regulation. And I saw your sort of like a form that you had, that, oh, like if you fill in this, this, and this, they'll sort of like, I'll decide whether you can call yourself a trainer. And one
So,
of them, yeah,
in case people haven't seen it, I assume people haven't. That's the way I always approach stuff. Is you're talking about Roadit,
yeah,
ROADIT, which
yeah,
our suggestion currently, because we haven't we've just put a web page together, and we've got the concept behind it, of a effectively privatized version of audit, still voluntary, because we can't enforce things. But if DVSA, who are the enforcers, can't enforce things, then that's okay. And trying to up maximum standards rather than work to minimum standards by bringing in higher
yeah,
minimum standards, which is that weird kind of juxtaposition between the two. Yeah.
yeah,
So yeah, and that is our thought behind everything. Is
mm,
such a segmented industry,
mm,
where everybody's in their own little box, and a lot of people don't come out of it. Just it's weird. So
yeah,
as that introvert that I am, I'm happiest in a room on my own.
mm,
I think I do then end up craving things, which is why I put out a shout out to people saying, come and have a conversation with me, please.
yeah, yeah,
Because I do enjoy it, but I like persons, not people. It's one of my new catchphrases, I think. I I've always craved community and
yeah,
belonging,
yeah,
and that kind of thing. And I think that goes back to, I'm now discovering, however many years in, that I have a neurodiverse mindset. Everyone else has known it for years, but it's a
mm,
revelation to me. Um, and I'm getting to use that and help people with that. That's awesome. But I think it's that looking for community. And
mm, mm,
I discovered really early on an awesome ADI community,
mm,
and that it's been really important to me, and I protect it, and I support it, and I try to grow it. And I've tried to grow little branches of my own with Facebook, first Facebook groups, driving instructors. Then I've got WhatsApp groups locally that I've set up, and there's all of these different kind of bits. But I think for me that yeah, the trying to bring something together, so we've got a recognized. I don't like hierarchy,
mm,
because I think that makes people more or better.
mm,
But we've got a recognized structure of ability and support, because at the moment,
mm,
I'm sure you've experienced it. We got PDIs training PDIs.
yeah, yeah,
That's just that. And I think peer-to-peer support and learning is awesome. I'm
yeah,
a massive fan. But I've spoken to 6 PDIs in the last week who've all said, oh, the best learning we've had has come from the WhatsApp group we set up off our own back when we had our cohort from our instructor training. And that's where we get our learning, because someone will come across something and they'll put it on the group.
mm,
Right? Love that in
yeah,
some ways, petrified by that in others.
mm.
What do you think the future needs to look like to make sure that that the future is orange and we are all sitting
Mm.
in the pink? There you go. There's
Yeah,
linking the two colours on the screen together.
definitely. Yeah, it's a very good question. It's a very good question, Chris. And this is one of the reasons why I wanted to speak to you, because the future is in our hands. Um, think about think about a PDI. I think even before a PDI. So think about a member of the public. A member of the public thinking about becoming a driving instructor. So we've got our ADI conference, we've got our ADI communities, but there's people out there that could be driving a bus, that could be driving a police car, that could be a paramedic, that could be in a factory thinking of becoming a driving instructor. When they peer in through that door, yeah, we can open the door, they choose them, walk through it. What do they need to see that's going to make them think, you know what, I'm going to do this because I've got the structure and the support.
Mm-hmm.
And you know, it's that structure and support that's vital that they can feel, hear, and see, that needs to be there. And they might get it from a franchise. They might get it from. See, the thing is, whenever I see a post on Facebook saying, "Oh, I'm thinking of becoming a driving instructor,"
Yeah.
there's loads and loads of information about do this, don't do this. The normal people reply, but the very last words are always, you know what, you're best finding somebody local and independent.
Yeah.
So PDIs, you know, I mean, they can't all travel to me. I'm based in Dudley because I know I've started something a couple of years ago that's very powerful, Chris. Now,
Mm-hmm.
what I do for PDIs and ADIs, and it's snowballed now because people are coming to me from all over the country. I had no idea people would do this, Chris. People are putting themselves on a train and I'm picking them up from the local train station, Dudley. I'm saying to people who are PDIs from all the franchises, because they've been let down to some extent.
Yeah.
So I'm saying to PDIs, right, have you actually seen a driving lesson in progress? If not,
Mm-hmm.
get your bum in the train or get your bum in your car, come in here, we'll pick you up,
Yeah.
come and witness me doing a driving lesson, and then we'll do some training,
Yeah.
2 hours, 3 hours, 4 hours, whatever you choose. So the observation is free, but the training is what they pay for.
Yeah.
They can't just have observation and go. Some have been cheeky and said, "Can I just watch the lesson and go?" And I've
Yeah.
said, "Well, no, because like I've spent all my life crafting my skills. You can't just watch the lesson and go." Because the crux of the matter is the debrief, the discussion, the role play, the coaching conversations. I'll do in-car training in my car or their car. Um, whatever, I'll tailor the training to fit what they need, and they're loving it because
Yeah.
I've had PDIs on their like second and third attempt, because they've never ever seen a driving lesson. So
Yeah.
I took
And
that from my teacher training.
and this is where I'm pushing. I've got a meeting this Wednesday, steering group with the DVSA, and the first one that we went to was about part two. And my beginning, middle, and end of my conversation, literally any time I could squeeze it in, was that part two, the practical driving experience, should become part one. Because,
Yeah, yeah,
as you
all
said,
integrate. Yeah.
they haven't seen a driving lesson since they took their test, probably.
Mm,
And
mm,
they don't know what a modern lesson looks like. They don't know
yeah.
what a good driving lesson looks like. I'm waiting for you to copyright it or something, so I'm not allowed to say that anymore. Um, but is it good or great? My apologies.
uh, great
G,
driving, great
great
driving
driving
lesson.
lesson.
Yeah,
You
because
need to know it's your title.
yeah, yeah. Let me look.
Just
Uh,
check.
it's a great. It
It
says
is with
great
great.
driving
I
lesson.
can
Yeah,
still have good
it's
ones.
great.
That's fine.
Yeah,
That's that.
the reason why it's great, the reason why it's great is because in the training I deliver for Drive, I remember Mike saying, "Well, there's many good instructors out there, but there's not many that are great." So
Yeah.
yeah, it is great. I said, "Look at the badge, it is great."
Yeah.
Yeah,
Cool.
yeah, 'cause
Right.
there's many out there
So,
that are good, but not many
but
that are great.
so coming into the industry, they're being
Mm,
trained to do something they have never seen. So because they want to be great. And let's assume that Mike Fowler knows what he's talking about. We all know it's questionable, but he has a good day every now and again. Love him. He's great. I love his presentations. I think he's brilliant at all of that jazz.
yes,
I can
he's
talk,
on fire.
but he's
I
yeah.
love him to bits.
Anyone who hasn't seen it, check out one of the drive lives because when he's doing it, they're just
So
brilliant.
he's awesome.
So
Exhausting.
I'm not saying anything else nice about him because I'm seeing him on Sunday. So the I've thrown myself. So no, it is that thing of they want to be great. Everyone comes onto it. They're all way too humble because they recognise that it's going to take them time to get there at that point. And then they qualify, and something seems to change in a lot of people. They suddenly think that they are the rounded package, and they're not. And none of us are. I'm still improving. You're still improving. We know that, but it's this weird kind of pro journey where you have to learn that you've got something to learn, and that sort of happens with everybody to some extent. And I think demonstration of that up front is what we need. And the second thing I really want to move away from, and I still do it, I've just done it just now. We keep talking about part 1, part 2, part 3 training, or most people talk about part 2, part 3 training because no one talks about part 1. Personally upsets me as a theory specialist. However, that's the test. We should talk about theory, practical, teaching, because that's what we're training for. We're not training for a test, and the industry needs to change that. And it sounds really, really basic and irrelevant. I think it is the essence of everything. And as an example, we have the GDL consultant. As you said, it's a title you gave yourself because it was something that you feel you are, and we need labels to represent us. That's why searching for communities, we need labels that represent us. We want to be part of something. And the theory training specialist, same thing. I just decided, right, that's going to be my area of specialism because I'm so passionate about it. And then on top of that, I speak to my 15-year-old. I took him to a business networking event because he did work experience with me. And he thought it was going to be me teaching, and we did everything because, it's like we run businesses. And he came out with 20 entrepreneurs in that room. And he came out and he went, they all run businesses. They were having fun. That's what I want to represent, is that actually we can have not a proper job, because not a proper job is so much better than the proper ones. So all of that coming together so that we are demonstrating, because we know demonstration is the best way of teaching, demonstrating before we start saying, and now you do it. And yeah, so I love what you're doing there. I think we should be doing that across the whole process. I really, really do. And I think that you touched on it. It's symptomatic of a massive issue, which is people are assuming that mass-produced training is going to be good enough for them as an individual. How do you feel about that? Because I run the risk, when I'm not involved with a national company, of being rather biased. You should always use a local trainer because I am one. Actually, I work nationally. Everything's on Zoom. I work worldwide now. But is there a place in this modern world of client-centered and all of that, everything that comes with it, for mass-produced product, if that's the right description?
You took the words out of my mouth. When you were just finishing your sentence, I thought, I'm going to start this sentence with client-centered learning. So if I take myself back to when I did my teacher training, the teacher training was delivered to a whole lecture theatre of teachers, and we had classroom based, so on and so forth.
Yeah.
So it needs to be a mixed, and then we were placed in schools.
I was going to say, so when did that change? So you had you were lectured to.
Yeah.
Now, so lectured to, as someone who hasn't been there, is about you being willing to learn, because you could turn up and not take anything on board. So that you've got to bring it. But it's also down to the person at the front of the room who's delivering it to engage. And to pitch it right as well. If they come in, I know the first year at uni is very often reteaching what they should have learnt in their A levels or equivalent, because they assume you haven't. So there's that approach, and then they pitch up. If they pitch up, they lose them at the beginning.
Well, it was a mixture. It was the whole lecture theatre. Then we had our own separate groups as well.
Yeah,
We had our little subgroups, and then we had our mentor-based training as well. So it was a mixture of
yeah.
different aspects to cover all the angles, and that's what's missing in the driver training industry. Of course, we've got training providers, but we all need to sing from the same hymn sheet because
So what? Sorry, what's missing specifically? Because I'm really interested in this myself.
if I think back to my training, which was bad training, and then it eventually went good because I passed eventually.
Hmm.
Wow, that's a deep question. So I think the main thing that is missing is the what I'm doing. I've got to say it's what I'm doing because
Yeah,
I love it. I love it, and I know it's missing because PDIs that are coming to see me, they're telling me because they're coming from all the main franchises. I'm not going to mention the names because we know all the
mhm.
names of the franchises. I've got PDIs coming to me from all of the franchises saying, "Oh, I've never seen this." And I've got PDIs that are on their third attempt at the part three,
Yeah,
and have you actually seen a driving lesson being delivered? Right, let's organise that now. Because
yeah,
after that, we're going to do the training uh, bespoke. Now, the word conversation you said earlier helped me remember the word. It's got to, so there needs to be a delivery of the
yeah,
training. So the training's got to have this and this and this. But then each PDI is an individual as well. So they're going to need one-to-one support.
yeah,
So it's got to be bespoke training there because every PDI is going to have different issues. Likewise, they're going to need peer support as well. So they're going to need groups to learn from and bounce ideas off each other as well. And on top of that, they need their mentor or trainee to hold their hand and take them along the way as well. Otherwise, it's the blind leading the blind. And like you say, PDIs, training PDIs, that is so frightening. It's so
yeah.
so what's to answer your question, what's missing is that structure. That I mean,
Hmm.
all the franchises they're doing well. Obviously, they're doing well because they're in business and they're well, some are doing well, some aren't doing well. Some you can. I mean, PDIs are coming to me in tears. So obviously
I
they're not. Then
Yes.
you must have seen that as well. Uh,
I think the biggest problem is that they're not turning anyone away, and that's what I feel is I think a lot of the people that get to us, and also as a teacher you will recognize this, that you have to pitch it to the lowest common denominator in some way in that class, in that group. So if you're not putting in a filtration system, a qualification system of some kind for the people that are coming on board, you're never going to be doing the best for the people that are most that have the highest aptitude inside of that class.
mm,
So
mm,
I think that's one of the problems. I would add, I absolutely agree with that structure need, that we need those different
mm,
elements because they
mm.
each bring different things. But I think also we need a better entry
Yeah,
qualification
some sort of a
process.
baseline
So
because yeah,
yeah.
people, pe I know PDIs are coming from all walks of life, and
Mm.
what I do is I encourage the PDIs to harness the skills that they have. So if they've driven a bus for 15 years, excellent. Let's use your defensive driving skills. If they've been a police officer for 20 years, right, let's use your traffic skills. If they've been a teacher, so I've got teachers coming to me as well saying, look, I thought this can be easy, but
Yeah.
it's
Isn't
so different.
isn't that interesting? So I'm working with one at the moment, and I've sat there with them in total confusion, and I can see the path from where their previous experience and moving it forwards, but what they've been told by so many sources has just confused things because we like to make it complicated, and the problem is, like with doctors in your uniform there, that I think you go to a doctor who knows all the complicated stuff and then makes it really simple for you. And our industry suffers from two issues there, because we're on the wrong side of it. So it's the right solution, but we're on the negative. Is that we're then accused of making it complicated when it shouldn't be. But then when you make it simple, people don't realize it's actually quite complicated. Complicated is not the right word, is it? Complex. So it and things like the GDE matrix. It's a very academic thing. I'm currently working on a rewrite so that I can put across my version of how I've kind of come to terms with it, to just almost an entry level. I'm good at entry level stuff. This is why I didn't go to university. University of Life, absolutely, but taking complicated and making it really, really simple so that I can understand it is apparently helpful for other people. So
brilliant. That's brilliant.
Find your niche and work with it. I think that's a real issue inside of what we do. So we've got people coming in who haven't currently got the abilities that we need, communication being number one. So that's an issue. We've then got the structure is lacking. That's an issue, because different people need different support. You can't talk client centered and then deliver a monotone approach to something. It just doesn't work. Doesn't make sense. But we still do it as an industry, not we as ourselves. And then everything stops the second that you know something. You're an expert in it, and actually we need a tiered approach moving forwards to be able to go, I think it would be lovely if Facebook had a qualifications box. So when you've given an answer to something, you put, this is why. The second people do it, they go, well, it's because you think you're a grade A plus trainer. No, it's because I'm really frustrated at the other 20 comments from people that don't know what they're talking about because they've got it really, really wrong. Or I've got a different opinion, but I don't want you to just ignore me because of the weight of the other answers, because maybe there's a different way of looking at it, and those kind of things. So I think what then I need to ask, because I'm very aware that I will suddenly run out of time, and this is the big question that I want to ask you. Partly because when I did the webinar for Drive the other day, Adam said, next time I'm going to ask you this, so I want you to answer it for me. What is a great driving lesson? So when we're looking not at the training, let's move on from the training for a second to that delivery, because you're saying quite rightly, you're bringing people into it. What is that? Where does it come from?
Well, I'm so glad you asked me that. Where are you based, Chris? Where are you based?
I am on the Kent Southeast London borders.
Okay.
I once said to Dipod, I live on the M25, and they've never forgotten it.
Oh, you live on top of the M25. Okay, so you're about a couple of hours away from me. I'm in Dudley, West Midlands. Do you like Indian food, Chris?
That's not a question.
You love Indian food, right? Yeah. Chris, I want you to take time out of your diary and come to Dudley.
Okay.
I'm gonna feed you. Okay.
I'm there. Everyone pays everything on food.
Come and see a great driving lesson, and we'll have a nice meal together. We'll have a nice chat. So I could just finish my sentence there, but I know this is going to be broadcast to the whole of the community as well. So first of all, Chris, you're welcome. Come to Dudley and witness a great driving lesson. And we'll have a meal, and you'll enjoy the Indian food, and we'll enjoy it as a company as well. To answer your question for the benefit of all the listeners, I feel very, very fortunate that I managed to get the BTEC level 4 coaching course completed. I know you said let's move away from academics.
No.
So a great driving lesson is there's three ingredients. There's got to be three ingredients. Now, this is where the 17 competencies come in as well, because I do actually love the 17 competencies. They were written by Lynn Fitzharris, who was a DVSA examiner. So the way she's written them is beautiful. So a great driving lesson is one that satisfies the 17 competencies. Now, we don't need to know the 17 competencies off by heart. We can summarize them into three simple steps: value for money, teaching and learning, risk management. At the end of the lesson, the pupil needs to feel that, that was money well spent. Teaching and learning. The pupil must learn something in that lesson. So if the lesson starts at 12 and finishes at 1, got to have learned something in that lesson, not the lesson before, or not. We're looking at that particular lesson. So every lesson, there needs to be some element of teaching and learning because it's a lesson. Risk management. So it's the ADI or PDI's job to keep the car safe. The pupil is putting their life into your hands. So in summary, a great driving lesson is one where there's fun, there's learning taking place, the car's kept safe, and the pupil at the end of the lesson feels like, oh yeah, I can't wait till the next lesson. I've learned this, this, and this. Now I can't wait till the next one to build on those skills. So my mission is to make every lesson in my diary a great driving lesson. I reflect on the lessons on a regular basis. Now, a thought came into my mind this morning actually, and I want to ask you this question, Chris.
I can see something coming. You had that look on your face. Go on, shoot.
So, Chris, help me here.
Yeah.
We know that reflection and self-evaluation is vital in our industry.
Yes.
And in most industries to be successful.
Mm-hmm.
So, question for you, Chris. What is the difference or the dividing line between reflection and self-evaluation, procrastination?
Say that again, because the mic drops out at the last second.
I wanted to know from you what in your view is the difference between self-evaluation and reflection?
Yeah.
Procrastination.
Procrastination. Okay. So it's action. I think that I said this at the weekend. I was offered a very, very nice journal notebook type thing from Mont Blanc. It was quality. And as an ex-stationery trade person, I'm not a fan of Mont Blanc pens. Don't tell them that. They fall apart. They're rubbish. But Mont Blanc products are very nice. And I said, it's just another book for me to write in and not look in again. And that's the biggest mistake that I've made in the past. I've gone and done stuff. And by writing it down, it does help me process. Absolutely. But if you don't take action, and that normally means going back to and taking stuff from it. If you take that, if you plant a seed and you don't water it, it ain't going to grow. And that, for me, it's about actions. And I think too often we expect to grow a tree, not grow a shoot. And it's the shoots that turn into something, not the massive things. It's not necessarily, it's not always a qualification. I have written here's an exclusive for you because it's not out there yet. I have just written an article at the weekend because someone mentioned, and there's a bit of a debate on this. I'll ask your opinion. Is it rock, paper, scissors, or is it scissors, paper, stone? What's your preference?
I've always heard it as rock, paper, scissors.
Okay. That's what I've gone with as well.
Yeah,
but there's a bit of a. I wonder if it's a regional divide. I don't know. Anyway, so rock, paper, scissors.
Yeah.
New article that will be on my website by the time this is out there, so that's all good. And it was a tiny thing that has turned into my new way of thinking about particularly people with neurodiversity and progress and getting somewhere. I thought it, but if that thought had just dissipated, it wouldn't exist. It wouldn't be a thing. So I put it down in writing. I actually got my other half, because I was driving at the time, got my other half to make a note. And if it had left it as a note in my phone, which is one of my big issues, because digital notebooks are infinite. When I die,
Oh,
there's
that's
going to be this
yeah,
this
yeah,
massive backlog of things. I just delete them because they probably won't make any sense to anyone else. But I didn't just make the note.
mhm,
At 2 in the morning when I wasn't sleeping, I wrote the article. It might not be as good as I remember. I've set myself up now, but um, I did something with it. Now, people can love it or hate it. I don't mind. What's
mhm,
important is there's something out there that they can have an opinion about.
mhm.
There's something out there they can choose to use if they want to, and that's my bag. That's what I like. But without the action, it was just a thought.
Yeah, thank you. That's helped me because I'll confess I do a lot of procrastination, and yeah, that's an important word I'm going to take away. It's true. I mean, I've got a big to-do list. I've got
Yeah.
things to do now, things to do next week, and long term, and yeah, but yeah, I do agree. The action
And
and takes time.
I think also it's having structure.
Mhm.
Go back to what you said earlier.
Mm.
I'm awful at structure. My brain doesn't work well with structure. It's executive function issues. It's all those things. I understand them now. The best thing I've ever done is understood them, because I say this a lot. I got to 42 before finding out that I was dyslexic. I often say I became dyslexic at 42, because before I wasn't. I was non-functioning. And in lots of ways things would happen and I wouldn't function because I didn't know why. I then learnt why, and that helped. But putting into action things that
Mm.
would help me, including having a level of acceptance and putting structure in, even to the point now that I would just say it's because I let people know, so then
Mhm.
they don't hold me to account on something that I can't be accountable for,
Mm.
and those things.
Mm.
I think that's so important. I don't think we do that enough. So I think we need structure.
Yeah.
We need to go, all right. And you mentioned this. I can't remember whether it was when we were recording or before I hit record, which is why I should always
Mhm.
hit record straight away. Um, about time in our job, um,
Yeah. Yeah.
about taking that time for ourselves and being able to
Yeah.
do that. That
Yeah.
it just one day runs into the next.
Yeah.
You live
Yeah.
your role, you
Mm.
know.
Mm.
You become a driving instructor through and through. You know,
Yeah.
it's
Yeah.
it's it's that thing of it takes over in a lot of ways.
Yeah.
When you live that and you don't, but at least put it in boxes so that you can work things out, put them down, and move on. Hopefully, go back to them. If you saw my desk, clearly that's an issue. Um, I think that causes problems, and I think that's probably representative of the industry issues that we have. That we haven't got enough of those.
Yeah. I love what you said there, Chris. The structure is a vital aspect. But I remember reading an article. I was in a staff room years ago, and this was about children playing in a playground. And a team of psychologists, mapped out their footprints during
Mm.
break time. So during break, it's only 20-minute break, but the children need that freedom as well. So as adults, we've got to understand how we function. We all function similarly and differently. So
Mm.
when we are procrastinating or self-evaluating or reflecting, we're not wasting time. We're preparing for the
Yeah.
next stage. But we need to be
Yes.
mindful of, oh, hang on a minute, I've just wasted 2 hours. No, you haven't wasted 2 hours. You've actually reorganized your brain. And the article mentioned, well, the article, because in the morning they do this and this and this, then they have a break. And in that break, the footsteps are just going all over the playground in a random manner. So
Yeah.
that's enough time for the brain to reset. As adults, we need to appreciate that as well. That okay, we've got a lesson here, we've got a lesson here, we're doing this, we're doing that training. But hang on a minute, we need to have that me time as well. That me time is vital. It's not being selfish.
Yeah.
It's getting yourself back on track.
And we often see and reflect on the benefits now of lockdown and COVID. And, there's, especially in our industry, there's still issues going on that are at least traced back to, if not caused by. I think that was an enforced reset for a lot of people.
Yeah.
And we suddenly went, hang on a minute, why? Why am I working 7 days a week? Why am I charging enough that I get by instead of enough that I can survive or thrive, or whatever it might have been. And yeah, I think reset is really. Again, I'm the model of what not to do in so many ways, but I have discovered that those things are important to take some time. But I I like what you said there, because you didn't have procrastination as being a negative. And I do this with pupils, the nervous ones, the ones that are going to test and they're worrying. I get them to sit down and write it all down.
Mm.
I go, right, I'm going to give you this amount of time to actually engage with your worries, to engage with those, because they're really important to you. And this week, I'm doing that because I've got DVSA meeting on Wednesday and then I've got Expo on Sunday. And while I will happily stand in front of that room and talk once I get there, I have to have my meltdown beforehand internally for me to get to the point that I can stand there and talk to people. And then I also know that Monday and Tuesday are going to be interesting, because I will have the same thing on the other side of it, where I need that process, I need that space to be able to do it. And there's that slightly sadistic side of me that puts myself back in that situation every time. But you have to understand that. And the one that always hits me is when people come along and they say, yeah, but you're good at it, you'll be fine. Yes, but I need the meltdown. I won't be fine without the meltdown.
Yeah. Yeah.
I've learned to make it less melting, but
Yeah.
it's still there. It's still one of those things. And yeah, it is. It all comes back to what we've said all the way through, isn't it? It is structure, and that putting things into practice. That you can have every certificate going. None of them are worth anything if you don't do something with it. Yeah.
That's something I realised quite late on in my life, because I've got loads and loads of certificates. And I remember it was a Zoom presentation by Sally Ford, and I think she's in Dubai now. And
Yes.
she mentioned the phrase streetwise. So we've got to be streetwise ADIs. As you've seen, driving lessons have changed. I've seen big change in the last 10 years. I teach differently now than what I did 5 years ago, 10 years ago. The roads are so much more aggressive, and we've got to prepare. We've got to prepare our trainees, our ADIs, PDIs, and learners to be streetwise, to be safe. I mean, just yesterday on a lesson, a car overtook at like 60 miles an hour in a 30 zone. I'm thinking, like, right, people, this is what you're going to have to deal with all by yourself.
Yeah. And that's also really interesting, because I reflect the other side of that, because probably for all the things that I'm now very, very aware of that weren't picked up on when I was at school, I didn't work well with structure. There's a different structure when it comes to neurodiversity.
Yeah.
To share
Yeah.
one of those things, this
Yeah.
is one of them.
Mhm.
A neurodiverse conversation is about grabbing the ball because you've got something to show that you are part of that conversation. So you say to someone, oh, I'm feeling really fed up this week. A neurotypical person is likely to go, oh, tell me what's up. Is there anything I can do, etc. A neurodiverse person is likely to go, yes, I did that as well last week, and this is how I felt, because it's sharing that I empathize, I understand. And and it's a different way of having a conversation. The same thing is true for learning and structure. We all need a different learning and structure. And so I'm anti-certificate. Always have been. I don't like qualifications. I didn't get a job because I didn't have a qualification, and that reinforced my hatred of qualifications, because it wasn't the lack of, it wasn't that I didn't have it, it was the qualification that stood between me and where I wanted to get to. And I've come to a different understanding that I'm now trying to teach my kids. The qualifications, the certificates can be really, really important because they're an entry. They're an evidence. They're a representation of having done it. But if you just turn up, that's not good enough.
Yeah.
So you need a bit of both.
Yeah.
You know?
True. Very true. Very true. And in your opinion, you know, how long is it going to take then to things to get better? Because they're pretty bad at the moment, aren't they? I think the way things are, they're pretty bad. But okay, we've got the expo. We're looking forward to that. Everybody's going to be happy and jolly. But deep down, we know there are issues that need to be resolved. You know, we're all one little cog. We are one little cog in the whole machine, which some people could say is not fit for purpose. So, you know, do we just keep doing our little bit, and how do we proceed?
I think that the phrase that's haunted me the most, because I have to say it so often, I hate it, sticks in my throat every time I say it. The DVSA have got it right. You mentioned the 17 competencies. I'm very big on not having to know the 17 competencies, because the essence of them is what's important. And my version and your version differ slightly, because I believe that the DVSA got educational experts to write the 17 competencies, because I've seen the piece of paper that says that happened. And like everything, there's three truths. We probably won't know the real one. However, those competencies are a really good educational framework, but they're the marking structure. They're not the framework. So let's have our own framework and work to it. So I think that, you know, all of these things are put in place, and you then look at it and you realize actually they got it right. What they did really badly is communicated it to us. What's happening at the moment is fingers are being pointed at ADIs that we are the solution to their problem. And I don't like that, because that feels like all the weight's being put on my shoulders. And, you know, they're right. I've spent 17 years in this industry.
Yeah.
And I've been really, really lucky. I very early on met the right people at the right time to be able to be in certain rooms and have conversations way above my pay grade. I still do. Yeah, I still feel they're way above my pay grade. It comes back to the confidence we were talking about earlier. But I've had those conversations. I have been invested in the solution that was being offered that never came to happen. And I'm fed up with all of that. And regarding RODIT, there's lots of conversations. There's lots of appetite at the moment for that, but people want it to be a collective choice. We want to have, you know, measures and things in place. We want certificates. We want some of those. We want some certificates in place. And Ian and myself have said, we've been here before. We've been here and we've had conversations, and there's not enough cohesion for it to work, because nobody took that first step, right? So for me, that change in that future is about someone taking that action. Right. Can I just say, we didn't script this. We haven't had this conversation before, because it feels very much like if I was going to write this down and say, let's say this, because it's about that taking action. Have the let's really tie it up in a bow. Have the confidence. Have the knowledge and experience to take an action. And if we do that, that answers your question.
What you've just said reminds me of this is all about you and me, our own driving. ADIs, PDIs, and trainers, excuse me, if you're listening to this and you managed to get this far, well done. But all this is about your driving. So you go and get a driving certificate like IAM or ROSPA. If you've been a police officer, you'll know what I'm talking about. Because I'm so happy, Chris, that I did IAM in the early 1990s. I'm now
Mm.
going to reapproach them and do another assessment and ROSPA as well, because I know that's a different thing as well. But this is all about you looking in the mirror and thinking, why do you check the mirrors? Why do you do glances? We've got to walk the walk and talk the talk. So it's a reflection of your driving. So I mean, I know we're running out of time, but I want to mention the tip system. Now, I know
Yeah.
you've got your I think you did a little presentation about the tip system, because that it's a very crude way, but it does work. What it helped me, for those of you who don't know, the test information program for the DVSA. So they put like a crude system together of trying to work out who's going to get a standards check based on the pass and fail rates of pupils. Now, I know when it was first launched, it was like, well, hang on a minute, I'm not driving the car, but the pupil has done a serious and a dangerous and this and that's gone on my record. But the pupil's driving is a reflection of your training. So I use the tip system and turn it on its head. And every 6 months, I've been calling a crystal report. Now, when I think I mentioned, I might send you a comment about this, Chris, because you had your acceptance criteria into Road It.
Hmm.
I wanted to suggest to you, and it's just coming in the conversation now,
Yeah.
that somebody who's dedicated to road safety and continual improvement, like I am and you are, I went to the effort of calling a crystal report every 6 months to keep myself in check. So you're right. The DVSA got it right. The
Yeah.
DVSA got it
I,
right.
the problem is most trainers don't have tip reports because they don't take learners to test. Because it was something we looked at as going, what measures have we got? And you don't have to, they don't have to be the only measures, but they're useful. Um,
Mhm.
I think, yeah, it's recognizing that and looking at it and go, well, what can I take from it? And what can I do to change things? And I think the other example, which isn't on there, but is behind the figures on your report,
Mhm.
will be, and that report, just to have said it for anyone who has stayed with us this long, is now available really easily on a website. Just search for it. Search for it on Google, comes up with a website, you put your details in, you will need your email address and your date of birth and your AEI number.
Mhm.
That's it. And it will come through very efficiently as well. It's great. So though the thing behind that that we often use as an excuse is, well, I can't, I've done everything I can do. I can't change how they are on the day because their brain will leak out of their backside or, whatever it might be. Yes, you can, because we've recognized that we can work with behavioral change strategies. We can work with anxiety issues. We can, all of those things that make up the top level of the GDE, who the driver is, their values, their beliefs, and all those things, we can work with those during the time that they're with us if we choose to, but we've got to take that action. So, it is there. There are options. Is it making it rocket science? No, it's making it brain science, neuroscience. Do you know the most complicated science in the world? It's the stuff between the ears. Should we be dabbling in that? We already are. You're just doing it badly if you think you're not.
Yeah,
You
yeah,
know.
it's
So
fascinating.
yeah. Yeah,
Yeah,
it is.
absolutely
No,
fascinating.
I think that it is being able to look at it, keep track. One of the best training courses I have done that's stuff that stayed with me was technically industry. It was organised for driving instructors, but it was Danielle Brown, double gold medal winning Paralympic archer. Love her. She's awesome. We're still in touch occasionally. We've done some bits together since, but looking at how gold medalists monitor their progress. And actually, that's probably wrong. She became a gold medalist. She wasn't one. She was someone who wanted to be a gold medalist. She wasn't there. And that's the journey. It's not the gold medal, as she says herself, when she sat on the bed having got the gold medal and went, what the hell do I do now? You know, there's that moment of going, it reflects what we do. They pass their driving test and we go, bye. And we shouldn't.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
we know that we teach people that are, or we should be able to teach people that are qualified. But there's a lot of instructors that suddenly go, oh, they need to take their test because I've got nothing left to teach them. And I think
Mm,
that's where your advanced driving, whichever one it is, I
yeah.
would add diamond, the diamond advanced
Oh,
to
yeah.
list as
Yeah.
well.
Yeah.
Because if you want something that feels a bit more relevant to you as an instructor, they
Mhm,
work more to the
mhm.
DVSA system. And I'm not saying that that's better. I'm just saying it might sit better with some instructors. I learned
Yeah.
a lot from doing
Mm,
diamond. I'd already kind of done a lot of ROSPA type stuff,
mm,
and but I say to PDIs, one of the best value CPDs you can get from a practical perspective is ROSPA,
mm,
because if you join your local group, 30 something quid for a year or something like that, and you get allocated a trainer on a voluntary basis.
mm. Yeah.
That's incredibly good value.
Value. Good value. Yeah.
Yeah, and it doesn't shouldn't pay through the nose and invest more. I'm just saying if you're unsure or you're feeling the pinch because you've just spent, I'm going to go 8 to 10 grand on becoming a driving instructor, because I reckon, however, whatever process you go through, whatever money you pay up front, once you look at the investments,
Yeah.
you know, that's what the figure that people should be considering. It, if you've put that much in, you need to be getting that much out. So look at how you can.
In summary, this is we're talking about CPD, and it's something that's so vital. It's our life.
Yeah,
We're never the finished article. We're
yeah,
this, and this, and we're learning all the time. And like I said earlier, I make a mission to learn from more and less experienced people in the industry.
yes.
In fact, this is why I love PDI training, because they're coming in with fresh eyes. They're coming in with, well, oh, can we do this, or can we try this? Oh yeah, why not? Let's see if it works.
Yeah.
Same in teacher training as well. The trainee teachers are like buzzing, and it's like, well, the experienced ones are going like, well, okay, we'll see what you're like in 2 years.
Yes.
So
Yeah.
what? That's my lucky face.
I love it when a PDI comes in and they make a statement, and you just sit there and you go, I will talk to you about that in 6 months' time and see whether you think the same.
Yeah,
I don't
yeah,
want to burst your bubble now. I actually I've stopped referring to CPD because I think the D is about development. It sounds
mm,
like schoolwork, but I've started with CPG, just to fit in with your GDL, which is continuous personal growth, because I
mm.
think that
Love it,
that's much
love it.
more holistic as a thing. And I haven't decided whether I like it enough to shout. This is the first time
Mm,
I've spoken about it publicly, but I've
mhm,
been referring
mm,
to it as CPG for a while, because it makes me more interested in it. Because I actually find, how who would have thought rock paper scissors could be a CPG exercise, where actually I've developed something that really is a strategy that I can now work with, and everything else. I will send you a copy.
mhm,
But
Thank
and
you.
if anyone else wants it, I'll make sure it's in the notes, because by the time this goes out, it'll be there. But I know, who would have thought that a conversation about rock paper scissors would benefit driver training.
Mm,
You know, and neurodiverse people outside of the industry as well, potentially. It's one of those things. So we need to find the nuggets wherever they lay. Absolutely. So to finish things off, while we've
yeah,
still got them here before
yeah.
they run for the hills, being that I tried to promise the hour, the you know. Is there anything else that you would like to say, or would you like to let people know where they can find you to come and enjoy the Indian food? Because that's what's stuck in my head. There's
Well,
training
uh, 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 uh,
alongside it, apparently, but there's,
yeah.
yeah.
Well, anybody who's got this far to our conversation, well done, because it's gone over a little bit. In summary to what you just mentioned, Chris, I fully agree. It's all about lifelong learning. We as trainers, coaches, motivators, got to have that spark inside ourselves to continually get better and better and better. Every day is a learning day. Every day is a school day, and I invite anybody in the country to come and visit me. The nearest train station is Tipton, BY4, and I can pick you up from there. We'll probably pick you up partway through a lesson to make it just like a part three. Um, or if you want to come in the car, we can meet up at the big Tesco just down the road. My phone number is 07505 624 880. I am on Facebook as well. I'm on all the groups. I'm on all the groups, even the nasty ones. I love it. Because believe it or not, Chris, I have got a thick skin. I used to be a sales executive, so I've been at the sharp end of the business for a number of years. And I did put a post on one of the groups a few months ago, and it was shot down in flames, and I loved it. I was with a neurodiverse pupil, and we put MSPSL and the gear changes and so on, and everybody slated it. And I said, well, and I replied to every single comment wholeheartedly, and people then realised that actually this guy does know what he's doing. So locate me on Facebook, locate me on Messenger. My name's Hardial Matharu. I've called myself a GDL consultant. Like you said, it's just a title, just to pinpoint somebody. Come and see me delivering a driving lesson. If you're struggling with your training, if you've never observed a lesson, come and see me delivering a driving lesson. We'll organise how much training you want after that, based on your specific needs. I'll tailor make a training package to help anybody. Good luck with your training. Enjoy your journey, keep engaging with different levels of content on the platforms. There's so many different platforms now we can communicate and watch videos and learn from each other as well. But there's nothing more important than in-car training. I know a lot of it's done virtually on Classroom, on Zoom, yeah, but you've got to be actually in the car. I remember I was doing my PDI training, and it was 2012, and I remember my trainer saying to me, because it was the Olympics at the time, and
Yes.
and he said the actual words he said were, "See that swimmer? How's he going to learn to swim by reading a book? He's got to get in the water." So you've got to get in the car
Yeah.
to see a great driving lesson. You've got to get in the car. So
Yeah.
if you can't do it with me here in Dudley, ask your trainer. Ask your trainer, can I see you delivering a driving lesson?
Yes. Because putting it into practice is key. Yeah, absolutely. Well, thank you. I never know where these conversations are going to go, but I knew I was looking forward to it. And I think there's some amazing messages inside of that I really do hope lots of people listen. I will also put your details in the notes. So if anyone needs to look there, they are more than welcome. Check it out on YouTube and everywhere else we'll share it to. Thank you. And I look forward to seeing you at the expo.
Definitely, Chris. Thank you very much. Take care.
Take care.